Hello everyone. Hey, the markets have been pulling back, but how far? Today I want to talk about a technical chart indicator that may assist in trading market pullbacks. It's called the linear regression line. Today we're actually be using a set of 3 linear regression lines in combination for short-term pullback trades. This is going to be an interesting discussion. Let's go right to it. Now, of course, as we dive into this, the very first thing we need to do is consider the risks associated with trading, so bear this important information in mind. This material is intended for general informational and educational purposes only. Schwab does not recommend the use of technical analysis as a sole means of investment research, and investing involves risks, including the loss of principal. But let's go right to the thinkorswim paperMoney desktop platform. We find ourselves here on the S&P 500, and here we are pulling back from those early June highs. And now we're into the third week of June. We've been pulling back. And I think for some investors and some traders, they might be wondering, has the pullback ended? May there be a near-term entry opportunity for bullish stock trades? How might we gauge that? Well, for some, they lean on a technical series of indicators known as linear regression lines. So let's quickly acquaint ourselves with those. And they're added using the studies flask right up here. And I'm going to add 3. So let's click on that flask. We're going to type in linear. And the 3 that we're going to enter are the linear regression trend line. Let's add that. The linear regression channel 50. Let's add that. And the linear regression channel 100. And we'll add that to our chart. So I'll explain what each of these are in sequential order. Let's click apply and click OK. So here's what we're left with. The first is the linear regression trend line, which is right up the middle. And really what the system is doing here is just drawing a line right through the middle of all price action for the S&P 500 for the year, starting back 12 months ago and continuing through present day. So we'll have about half of the action below, half of the action above, with the objective here to establish a quote-unquote normal, because you may have heard this phrase, regression to the mean. Well, the mean referencing normal or average-ish, that's kind of the definition there. And when stock prices get away from average, how far might they go before they pull back? And then when they pull back, when might they start to rise again? So that's that linear regression trend line. Second thing that we have here is the linear regression 100. Let's skip over the 50 for just a moment, the 100. The 100 is simply drawn exactly parallel to the trend line, but equal to the furthest distance traveled away from that trend line for the year. So you'll notice this big sell-off that we got in March, right down to the end of March, that was the furthest the S&P traveled from its quote-unquote normal condition for the year. So that becomes our reference point, and we just draw a parallel line at that point. And then you might guess what the 50 is, just halfway between those 2 points. Well, these, for some, may act as potential areas of support and resistance if we're trying to gauge what's an extreme move to the upside. Well, going the greatest distance for the year, that might be one definition of extreme, or even going 50% of that might be comparatively unusual. And interestingly enough, that's just exactly what we've done in recent days. And we've pulled back down a regression to that mean. And as we look at trading activity right now, for some, they might see a little bit of maybe a dragonfly doji or a hammer candle, just a bullish bounce right off of that sort of average line for the year. And they may see that as an entry. So if that's the entry, what might the exits be? Well, a typical approach here when trading individual stocks using this sort of an approach is to just look for a move back up to the 50. Maybe at that point, the trader might move any stop that they have in place up to just below that, see if they can get up to the 100. Or they might just take profits at the 50. Obviously, there's no guarantee that we're going back to the 50, so a loss may be placed just below that linear regression line, just, a few points or a percentage point or so below that linear regression line. All this is just an example approach to this strategy. But I hope this has been an interesting introduction to this for you. Now, I've actually explored this in much greater detail in a recent webcast in my Advanced Options Strategies series. So if you're not aware, Schwab Education offers a range of webcasts on a range of topics. And to find that, you just go to our channel on YouTube. So our channel is Trader Talks Schwab Coaching Webcasts. Just pop down below this video stream right now, click on the subscribe button. It doesn't cost anything to do that, and it only takes a second. But this is where you can join live streams. We have, 7 or 8 live streams every day on a range of investing and trading topics. And then we house those as archives in our playlists. So for example, if you want to find my webcast series, is called Advanced Charting Techniques, we're going to click on playlists, and then you start to scroll down the page. We have lots of different topics. Mine happens to be about halfway down, so just keep scrolling. The page will refresh and reload, and right there in the center is going to be the full playlist for that series. So go check that out. Now, before I let you go, one other suggestion I would have for you is if you want to communicate directly with me, the way to do that is through social media. So you can find me on X, you can find me on LinkedIn. Find me there, give me a follow, and if you reply to one of my posts on either of those platforms, I'll just try to reply right back to you. So to find me on X, you'll just go to right here at Cameron May CS. That's the guy you're looking for. There's my backdrop. And if you reply to one of my posts, like this recent video I made, I just try to reply right back to you. And the same thing applies for LinkedIn. If you have that LinkedIn account, just go to linkedin.com/in/CameronMayCS. Reply to one of these posts, I reply right back to you. It allows for that communication when I'm not running a live webcast. All right, everybody, thanks for giving me your time today. I will continue to look for charting tools and techniques and other strategies to explore with you and weigh the pros and the cons. So I'll look for you in my webcast. I'll look for you also on social media. But whenever I see you again, until that moment arrives, I want to wish you the very best of luck. Happy trading. Bye-bye.